Well, hello 1332 distance learning. At this point, we don't really know exactly how the class is going to look, and we're going to have to figure things out as we go. But we do have these activities, which is the structure of the class. So these activities are going to get posted on Blackboard, and then you're going to print them out. You're going to attempt them. If you get stuck, this video is going to be an answer key for you so that you can, check your answers, and then you get everything filled in when you get stuck. If you get stuck while you're working on the activity, just pause at that spot, go watch the video for that part of it, and try the next part out on your own. It is very important that you do try and do the problems before watching the video. There's an important aspect of you actually trying things and attempting to figure out. Even if you are doing things incorrect, there's a lot of value in having tried it first and then watching the video. So please do that. At the very beginning, they just ask you a real simple question. You have two candidates that are both running for a seat, and they ask, hey, what's the most straightforward way that we should select a winner? Well, I think it would be very obvious here. You do a vote. Whoever gets the most votes is going to be the winner, right? The thing about this question that's kind of interesting, so the answer is really simple. What's interesting about it is it's setting you up for later when we start looking at, what happens if we have more than two people? If we have three people, somebody might not get the most votes, and that's going to be called plurality. You might not have the most of them, but you have more than everybody else, and that's called plurality. So at the beginning, we're just talking about majority type stuff. Okay, so this part, extending on and talking about majority rule with a twist, what we're going to do here is bring in the 2016 election and let you see how, I guess, kind of weird our election system is and how you might decide that it's not quite fair, at least not quite fair based on how you would have answered that previous question. Okay, so we have something that's called the Electoral College, and you can do a little bit of research on that. It's actually good to learn some stuff on that, but I'm not going to spend all the time like going through all the details on it. The gist of it is that states are giving a certain number of electoral votes based on their population. So states like Texas and California are worth a lot, but other states that don't have high populations aren't worth much. Within that state, whichever person gets the most number of votes might not be majority, might be what we call plurality, but whoever gets the most is going to be a winner takes all, and then you do the election based on that. All right, question one. In the U.S., there are 538 electoral votes, and, well, electors, and that associates with electoral votes. So if you take 538 and you divide it by 2, that's going to give you 269. That gives you 50% of the votes. So if we have to have a majority of that, then you're going to go up by just 1 and call it 270. So 270 or more is going to be over the 50%. Next question, we're going to look at the actual vote count. So this is the total number of votes. These are the votes that Hillary Clinton got. These are the votes that Donald Trump got. And if you set these up as fractions, do the division, and then convert them into percentages, you're going to get 48.3% for Hillary and then 46.2% for Donald. Neither of these actually did get the majority, but as plurality, Hillary Clinton got the majority in that sense, okay? But in our system, when the states like take all, so of the 538 electoral votes, Hillary Clinton got 227, Donald Trump got 304. And if you look at these percentages, they actually switch, which is a little weird thing that happens, and it's happened in the past before. It has happened in the past before where the actual like popular vote that we call that is different than the electoral vote. So in this case, Donald Trump did end up with what we call the majority. So at least on that end of it, there's that argument, right? That he should win. And that's our system. That's how it's done. Question number 4, I didn't really write anything down to answer that one because you can probably understand like what we were just doing there, and why that's sort of interesting that we have. All right, then we have something called the supermajority. Sometimes, and all these are related to like voting in Congress and the Senate and all that stuff there. Sometimes having just over the 50% mark might not be good enough reason to really decide something needs to be a rule or a law. So we'll do certain things like supermajority, like 60% to end a filibuster. 2/3, which is 66.6% majority, is required in et cetera, et cetera. You should have read all these, but you can see that those are significantly larger than 50%. And you can have things that are higher up. You got 75% over here. Just depending on what the situation is, you can maybe set like a higher super majority that you need to get to. So that 50% isn't just enough for that. Okay, question number 5. Of 100 senators, 59 are in favor of a bill and the other 41 are adamantly opposed to it, and they start a filibuster. Is the bill going to pass? So the first question we really want to answer is the filibuster going to get stopped? And that goes up to the first bullet point here, that you have to have 60% of the majority to stop a filibuster. What we have are 59 out of 100 that would not want that filibuster to go on, so that's only 59%, and we'll say no, because you can't stop the filibuster. Regardless of anything else that happens after that, you can't even move forward with this thing. Okay, question B. All right, so this one is going to go with the second bullet point, that you need a 2/3 majority in both the House and the Senate. You got, and must be approved by 75% of the states. So we already have the 2/3 majority in the state and the Senate, but what we need is the 75% from the state. So then they give you that number, or these numbers here, the 36 out of 50, and if you set that up as fraction, you're going to get 72%. 72% is not 75%, it's less than that, so the answer will be no. It's not going to happen. Okay, question C. A bill limiting the powers of the president has the support is 73 out of 100%, or 100 of the senators. That's 73%. Also has 270 out of 435 members of the House of Representatives. I did that calculation here and got 62%. The president will promise to veto the bill if it's passed. Is the bill going to become law? Well, right now we've got 73% and 62% in those two, but the third bullet point up here says a 2/3 supermajority is required by both the House and the Senate to override a president's veto. So in this case, the House's percentage is not meeting that 66.6%. So yes, the president can veto. So the question here, will it become a law? The answer is no. That's because that veto can occur. Okay, the rest of this activity is going to look at what happens when you have more than 2 people in an election and you don't have an obvious person who is the winner of the election. So what we have here is a table that isn't completely realistic, but it gives you an idea of like how we could look at voting a little bit different. We do have a total of 55 voters, and then you're going to see the numbers across the bottom, and that question is going to get asked in just a little bit here. The 18 right here represents 18 people who chose Allen as their first choice, then Diaz, then Eber, I'm assuming that's Eber, Catalan, and then Balter. That's the order and how they chose them. So we had 18 people that all chose the exact same order, which is a little bit far-fetched, but so we don't have too large of a table. We assume that 18 people did vote exactly the same. You then have 12 people that voted as Balter being the first choice, then Eber, Diaz, Catalan, and then Allen as their final choice, and so on as you go down here. So the 55 people that we had voted only voted in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different actual combinations. So not too realistic, but go get the job done. Okay, question 6. Basically just covers what I did there. The second column, you have 12 voters. Balter was the first choice, then Eber, then Diaz, then Catalan, then Allen. So it goes down in that order. So 12 people voted in that way. Question 7, the topic about majority. We have 55 people who voted. How many votes are needed to win by majority? That would have to be 28. So you're looking at what would be half of 55, but then rounding up to the next whole number so that you were actually over 50%, and that'll put you at 28. Did any candidate have the majority? No, and that's what makes the question interesting here, is that there isn't an obvious winner just based on the number of votes, because they're all spread out around. All right, then we talk about plurality. Plurality is who got the most, even though it wasn't more than 50%. So basically what we do is we look at the top of each one of these, because so Alan got 18 first choice votes, and then Balter got 12, and Catalan got 10. And as you go down there, so Eber was the top in 2 of them, but he was only chosen as the top pick for 4 and then 2, so he only really has a total of 6 total first choice votes. Okay, so Alan is going to be the winner based on plurality. Obviously 18 is not very close to 28, but if you're just taking first choice votes, then that'd be the winner, Alan. Okay, now as a little bit of a hint when you go through this activity, so if you haven't done the rest of it, whoever put this together was very clever about how they did this. We don't have any winners for majority. Plurality is going to be Alan, and if you look at all the names here, they're going to be alphabetical. They're just right. You got Alan for A, you got B is Balter, you got C for Catalan, and so on. And as you go through this worksheet, it's going to go down the alphabet, creating those as the winners. So our next winner by some other look is going to be Balter, and then after that it's going to be Catalan, and all the way down the line too. To even Eber gets to be a winner at some point as you look through this. So it's really clever how they put it together. All right, what I like here is there's going to be a single runoff and then a sequential runoff, which I think those two are my funnest, or the most enjoyable ones to go through and do the calculations. Okay, in a single runoff, what we do is we take the top 2 people. The 2 people had the most first place or first choice votes. So we knew Alan was there, and then if we go back to the table, Balter had 12, Catalan was 10, Diaz was the 9, and then Eber was only 6. So these 2 are the top picks right now, Alan and Balter. Okay, and then what we do is between those 2, we're going to drop out everybody else, like in those voting sets, and then those votes that would have gone to Catalan as a first choice or Diaz as a first choice, those are going to get reallocated to somebody else. So I'm going to go back up to the table. These 2 columns are going to stay as they are because these are our top guys anyway. But where Catalan was a first choice for 10 people, we're going to take that out because Catalan's no longer part of the race. In fact, we're going to take out Catalan, we're going to take out Eber and Diaz. So I take out Catalan. The next choice is Balter, and Balter's going to be higher than Alan, so Balter's going to end up taking those 10 votes in that spot. Okay, in the next column, Diaz is out of the race, Catalan is out of the race, Eber's out of the race, so those votes are going to go to Balter. You can see Balter was listed higher than Alan, so Balter's going to get the 9, and then as you go through the others, if you didn't notice already, Alan's at the bottom no matter what, so when you take out these other people, Balter's going to end up getting those votes. He's going to end up collecting everything except for the 18 that Alan had originally. Okay, so he's going to get, let's see, he gets those 10, he gets the 9, he gets the 4, the 2, the 18, and then when you add it all up, he has 37. Oh, and by the way, remember there's 55 votes, so keep making sure that everything's adding up to 55. So Balter is our winner by the single runoff. Okay, so we had Alan by plurality. Now we got Balter by single runoff. So sequential runoff. Sequential runoff we should expect to go to Catalan. Okay, a lot longer of a process to go through, but it's similar to what we saw in the last one. What we do at the very beginning is we eliminate whoever was the person with the least number of votes. Or there's a lot of adding as you sort of go along here. But in round 1, we're going to get rid of Eber because he only has 6. So even though he had like 2, columns where he was first choice, it doesn't really add up to much. So we're going to end up taking Eber out, and what I'm going to do on this table is I'm just going to start crossing him out everywhere he is. It might seem more important right there, but it's going to be important later that we remember this guy isn't in the race whatsoever. Okay, so nothing changes in the first like 4 columns, all that's as is. But in the 5th column here, those 4 votes are now going to go to Balter. Okay, because he was the next choice. So Balter's going to receive 4 more votes, and if you remember, he had 12. That's going to take him up to 16. Last column, Catalan is the next choice. So Catalan's going to get the 2 votes. Remember that he used to have 10 votes, and now he's at 12 votes. Okay, and then once you get into the next round, it's going to get a little bit more confusing. So what I did off to the side here is I just kept a list of like how many they have. So Eber's out, there's no E, but I have A, B, C, D, and this is where they're now sitting. So I'm going to look at those numbers. I'm going to keep going back and forth through the table because that's where I'm going to reallocate stuff, but I'm going to use this to decide, okay, who's the next lowest person? That's going to be Diaz with only 9. So Diaz will get eliminated. Diaz only had 9 votes, which was coming from here. So again, we're going to take out Diaz, and now those votes are going to go to Catalan. So Catalan's going to receive an additional 9 votes, which is going to take him up to 21. Okay, and now that I got that reallocated, I'm going to also go back up to the table, take out Diaz from each of these. Okay, so for round 3, we're only down to A, B, and C. Remember, the hint is it's going to be C this time because Balter was the winner last time. Okay, but here's our totals with Catalan getting all his votes, and now he's pulled to the lead here. At this point, I didn't actually fill in these blanks, but Alan's got 18. Balter has 16. Okay, and then Catalan's at 21. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we're going to eliminate Balter. We're going to take him out. The confusing thing with Balter is that he's already received some other votes, and we got to make sure that those things go to the right places. And then, so I'm going to go back and forth through the table. Okay, we still have Alan. Nothing's changing with these votes. Balter's going to get removed, right? Oh, I forgot to take out Eber earlier there. Okay, so, and you'll see why that's helpful now. Okay, so I'm going to take out Balter. Those 12 votes are going to now head over to Catalan. Okay, and slide back down again, and you're going to see that hint right there. The 12 votes are going to go to Catalan. Okay, and over here, those votes don't move. We just take out Balter. Same thing, doesn't change there, so just take out Balter. These votes were part of Balter, so they're going to take away, and those are also going to go to Catalan. So he's going to gain 4 more. Nothing changes over here because Catalan had those. And if at some point it does get a little bit confusing, like in our next round here, we're down to, let's take out Balter from that one. If you look at all the columns, you've only got 2 people in there, so it's either votes go to Alan or they go to Catalan. Catalan or Alan, and you just go down. And remember, Alan's at the bottom of all these, so Catalan's going to end up with the 12, the 10, the 9, the 4, the 2, and then Alan really is only hanging out with his 18. When you add all that up together here, you can have Alan at 18. You can have Catalan at 37. So now Catalan is our winner this time. Okay, so what we're going to look at next is a point system. Remember that each of these different columns represent like an order of choices that a certain number of people voted for. So 18 people voted Alan first, then Diaz second, and so on. So in that order, each of our candidates is going to receive a certain number of points for being placed in that spot. So if a person is a first choice, they're going to get 5 points. If they're second choice, they're going to get 4, then third is 3, 4 is 2, and then fifth is 1. So it just sort of counts down as you go there. I wrote those off to the side just as sort of reference, and it's going to help out when I show you how to do the calculations just a little bit. Okay, now the thing that you got to remember is that like Alan, he wasn't chosen as like a first choice just like one time. He was actually chosen as a first choice 18 times. Okay, and then Balter was chosen as a first choice 12 times. Okay, so we got a couple of them already worked out here for you. If we're going to calculate Alan's total number of points, he is going to get 5 points for the 18 times that he was voted as first place or chosen as first place, whatever. So we're going to have the 18 times 5. In the second column for Alan, he is way at the bottom, so he's only going to get 1 point for each of those 12. Then he's only going to get 1 point for each of these 10, and that's what you'll see as he moves down. He's only getting 1 point for each of those because they're all in the bottom row. Balter, he was actually the last pick in that group of 18, so he's only going to get 1 point for each of those 18. But in the next, he's going to get 5 points for each of those 12. And he's going to get, since he's a second choice here, he's going to get 4 points for 10 people. So 4 times 10, and then so on as you go down there. Okay, what I ended up doing one semester when I was going over this is thinking, couldn't we just create all the point totals first so that we didn't have to write all that out? So if you just look at this as a spreadsheet, what you can do is multiply the numbers. Like, so we're going to do Diaz in a moment here. Diaz, he's going to get 4 points for 18 people. So if I multiply 18 by 4, that box I can just say is worth 72 points. In the next column, his box is going to be worth 3 times 12, which would be 36 points. And what I could do is just go all the way down along this, and so I did them all in red here. So then all those are Diaz's points, and I can add them up and see that I get 191. Eber, I did the same thing, but in blue, and just multiplied the 18 by the 3, the 12 by the 4. So that's why I felt like those numbers are helpful. Another thing about this, if you were doing this all from scratch, what I thought was kind of cool is you can actually just count up by the numbers instead of keep multiplying and breaking them to small groups. Balter is going to get 18 points for the 18 by 1. Then Catalan's going to get 18 times 2. So if I just count by 18 to 36, and then another 18 is 54, another 18 is 72, and another 18 is going to get you to 90. That could actually help you fill in the table a little bit faster, and then when you want to find all your totals, you can just grab them. 18 is a little bit of a harder one to do, but you can see, like on the last column, that's pretty easy. You can just start with 2, then you have 4, 6, 8, and 10. Then when you're going to add them up, you just go and say, all right, Alan 90, Alan 12, Alan 10, and add them all together. But hey, look, in the end, who gets to be the winner? 127, 156, 162, 191, 189. There you go. Diaz. Diaz is the winner this time by doing a point system. But he didn't win by any of the other ways that we did this. Okay, and then our last one is, our last one is the one that I found the most obnoxious to actually go through. We had to keep looking back and forth at the table. As you go through it, you're going to see that they do have a lot of things that are filled in. So as you move along, there's less that you're actually completing with these, because like that one's going to be already completed. And then once you get to here, these two are already done. Then when you get to here, then you got 3 of them already done for you, because we've actually done them like ahead of time. Again, I hope that you've already looked at this a little bit first. But what we literally do is we pretend that only 2 candidates are matched up at a time. Okay, so if we're only comparing Alan and Balter, remember that Alan, he did the worst in all of the columns except for the one that he won. So he's going to get 18 and Balter gets 37. Because Balter is going to rank higher in this column, higher in this one, and that one, so he adds up all of that. That's going to be true for everybody though, right? When Alan goes against Catalan, again, he wins over here, but since he was the last in all of these, then you know Catalan's going to be the winner of all this. So overall, Alan is a one-on-one kind of matchup. He's not going to win anything. Okay, and when you get to Balter, actually, let's see if we can get this to fit better. All right, when you get to Balter, we already did that one. We know that he's going to beat Alan. That's already done. Okay, but then Balter versus Catalan. Let's see. What I usually do is I'm just, because I have the little blanks to fill in here, I'm going to try and put my finger on everything that's a Balter winner. So we know Balter won that one. He definitely didn't win that one because Catalan's there. But and then in the others, I got to look a bit closer. Catalan is higher than Balter, so no to that one. Catalan's higher than Balter, so no to that one. Balter is higher than Catalan, so I'm going to keep that one. Balter is underneath Catalan, so no. So we're only going to have the 12 plus the 4, which is going to give you 16. Okay, then I don't add up all the rest of them because remember, there's 55 total votes. So actually I just filled in that number. Then I did a Balter versus Diaz comparison. I got that number. I did the Balter versus Eber, got that number. And then I just, after everything was done, I subtracted each of those from 55. So it's a little bit less to count. Yeah, let's just do another random one just for the sake of doing it. We're going to do Catlin versus Diaz. So I got 12 to 43. But I'm really looking for the 12. Okay, Catlin versus Diaz, and I'm looking for Catlin to win. Okay, Catlin definitely wins this one. Over here, Diaz is over Catlin, no. 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 And Catlin over Diaz, yay, we got 2 of them to match up there. Or 2 of them for Catlin. I think I'm saying his name wrong the whole time, but you know what I'm talking about. 10 and 2 is going to give you that 12. And then, of course, I just subtract from 55 to get that. Then you scan across these and you say, well, who is the winner? Catalan was better than Allen. We knew that. Catalan was better than Balter. But Catalan was not better than Diaz or better than Eber, so he wins 2 of these. And as you get to the very end of this thing, you will eventually come to the conclusion that Eber, the guy who hadn't won anything in any way, actually has the most one-on-one comparisons and is the winner by that. So we got to see everybody win in some way. The final page, which I don't have with me, I know it just asks the question like, which of these do you think is the best method or something like that. And the whole point of that last page is just to get you to reflect on like, wow, what we think might be the best way to do a vote, like majority or possibly plurality, might not be the actual best because there's always these arguments for something else being a better way to do that.